Sky Sports are at it again, stirring up controversy where there is none. Kris Boyd has sent Celtic a warning about what could be coming, and we've got Scottish Cup drama involving the Green Brigade. Plus, Callum McGregor has fired a warning to Hearts, and Benjamin Negren just scored what he's calling the best goal of his career. It's been a dramatic few days, but first make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic clawed back 3 vital points on Saturday with a 4-2 win over Livingston, helped by Hearts' 3-2 defeat to Hibernian earlier in the day. The result tightened the top of the table and restored momentum, even if the display was bumpy in places. Celtic fell behind twice, yet still deserved the win. Livingston offered little beyond brief resistance. Once Celtic settled, the outcome felt inevitable. The home side lacked quality. The post-match story should have been simple. Resilience shown, attacks answered, 3 points banked. Instead, Sky Sports tried to manufacture controversy where none existed. The supposed flashpoint was a Livingston shot that ricocheted off a Celtic defender's side. The ball struck the stomach area, the arms were tucked in a natural position, there was no movement toward the ball, and no arm extension. By any fair reading of the handball law, there is no penalty. Even so, Sky clipped the moment, framed it as a question, and then debated it as if it were genuinely contentious. It was not. It is the kind of incident that passes without comment because it is clearly nothing. It becomes even more amusing when nearly 24 hours on from Rangers versus Motherwell, it looks increasingly clear that Motherwell were denied a stonewall penalty deep into stoppage time. That call, or non-call, was far more consequential than anything at Almond Vale and could have changed the result. Sky Sports Scotland did not show the game live, but silence since does not cut it. There has been ample time to review, analyse and highlight the incident. The question now is whether it will appear in their refereeing segment on Monday. Context matters. After losing to Celtic in the League Cup semi-final, Rangers issued a heated statement about officiating standards and perceived injustices. Since then, they have benefited from a run of remarkably favourable calls, with the Motherwell moment the most glaring. If officiating is truly the concern Rangers say it is, the quiet around Ibrox is telling. The lack of scrutiny feels selective, especially when Sky is ready to inflate non-incidents involving Celtic. Celtic did their job against Livingston. The wider conversation belongs elsewhere. Supporters deserve consistency and honest analysis. Selective outrage and manufactured flashpoints serve nobody, except those who would rather shape a narrative than reflect reality. Now, for the main story, as Kris Boyd is not known for offering Celtic any benefit of the doubt, which is why his latest comments have caught attention. Speaking after Celtic's recent run of results, the former Rangers striker suggested the fear factor around Celtic could return under Wilfried Nancy if the club strengthens in January. Coming from one of Celtic's most regular critics, the warning carries weight. The comments follow back-to-back wins for Nancy's side, with victories over Aberdeen and Livingston coming after Hearts dropped points against Hibs. That swing in results has tightened the picture at the top and shifted some momentum. Celtic are still not settled, but they are beginning to look dangerous again. Boyd's focus was not just on results, but on style. He pointed to similarities between Nancy's approach and the football Ange Postecoglou played during his time at the club. While he noted clear differences in quality, the shape, risk, and numbers committed forward were familiar. The timing of the comments matters. Celtic are still short in key areas and dealing with injuries, yet they are creating chances and scoring goals. Boyd's view is that this is not Celtic at full strength, and that should concern the rest of the league if recruitment backs the manager's ideas. He said, there are similarities between Ange Postecoglou and Wilfried Nancy in terms of the numbers getting forward. Ange Postecoglou had better players at the top end of the pitch who would have killed games off. Because of that, teams could not exploit them in the same way. Managers are probably looking at Celtic now and thinking the players are not at that level at the moment so they can be exploited. Every manager has to think about the best way to cause problems, especially down the sides, and ask questions of the defence. There isn't really much difference in how Celtic defend under both managers. The fullbacks are very high, and under Ange even one of the centre-backs stepped right into midfield. The difference was that he had better players, so the opposition rarely got the ball back. Right now, Celtic are in a transition period. If Wilfried Nancy brings in a couple of players at the top end of the pitch, and maybe adds quality in midfield and wide areas to suit his style, things could change. In other news, Celtic's Scottish Cup tie against Auchinleck Talbot will go ahead in January, just not where many had hoped. Instead of a historic night at Beechwood Park, Celtic will face Talbot at Rugby Park after football authorities and Police Scotland ruled the original venue unsuitable on safety grounds. The call has left the Auchinleck support deeply frustrated. For many, the appeal of the tie was welcoming the champions into the tight, intimidating confines of Beechwood, a classic Scottish Cup setting that felt made for romance. Some Talbot fans are now talking about a boycott. Others plan to watch the match in the club's social facilities and keep their money local rather than travel to Kilmarnock. Club legend Kenny Patterson, who spent 15 years in black and gold and remains closely tied to Talbot, summed up the mood. "I'm not disappointed that the game's been moved to Rugby Park. I'm devastated. I haven't come across a single fan who's happy with the move. I'm devastated to the point where I'm not going to the tie, and I know many people who are doing the same." In other news, Callum McGregor spoke after Celtic's demanding win over Livingston with a clear message about focus and discipline. The 4-2 victory at Almond Vale was not comfortable, but it mattered. Hearts had dropped points earlier in the day, and Celtic knew the importance of responding. The game itself tested Celtic in different ways. They went behind early, had to chase the match, and were forced to defend for long spells. It was a night that required patience and belief rather than control. McGregor's comments came with that context in mind. With Wilfried Nancy still early in his role, the Livingston match was another example of Celtic learning on the job. The pitch, the tempo, and Livingston's direct approach made it a difficult place to settle. That made the result more valuable than the performance. McGregor, as captain, framed the win as part of a wider process. He avoided talk of league position and instead focused on how the squad is adjusting to change. His words reflected a group trying to stay grounded during a busy period. He said, "Listen, we've just got to focus on ourselves. Obviously, we've changed our manager. We've got lots to work on, so we can only look at ourselves. It's only been a few weeks, so we're working ever so hard. The players are working so hard to get to grips with what the manager's asking us to do. You can see it start to come together, so big credit has to go to them. Game by game, we've seemed to get better, so we have to keep working. Obviously, the aim is to win this league, so every 3 days we've got to be there and competing." Lastly, Benjamin Negren walked off the pitch at Almond Vale knowing he had made a difference. Celtic's 4-2 win over Livingston was messy, open and demanding, but it also gave the Swede a moment he will remember. His second goal, struck cleanly from the edge of the box, proved to be a key turning point in the game. The match itself was far from settled. Celtic fell behind early, responded, then fell behind again. Livingston played with energy and belief, while Celtic were forced to react rather than control. In that context, Nygren's composure stood out. When the chance arrived, he did not rush it. Negren has grown into the season during a difficult period for the team. Injuries, changes, and pressure have shaped Celtic's campaign, and attacking players have been asked to shoulder more responsibility. Against Livingston, Negren answered that call with 2 goals and a calm presence in the final third. After the match, Negren was asked about his second goal and whether it ranked as the best of his career so far. His answer reflected both pride and focus on the bigger picture. For him, the result mattered just as much as the strike. He said, "Yeah, I think so. It was a great win. Not the start we wanted in the game, but we came back 2 times pretty fast, so I am very happy for the team." That's all for today's Celtic news. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's stories. We'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail!